Hello YouTube, Ronin Kaze, Remnant 2. So, Summoner. Recently, I was grinding. Apologize I didn't go ahead and record grinding, making Summoner. Basically, you go in this area and you shoot these purple orbs that give you Blood Moon Fragments, and you need 15 of them to craft a thing that Wilson, or whatever the guy's name is, that gives you new classes, gives you a new class. And so I have these Roly-Polies right now at level 1 Summoner, or level 2, whatever level I'm at. And I'm going to, I'm just testing it out here first. They're pretty decent. But I'm going to eventually try to get through the end of this area. One of the things about some Remnant 2 that's great, it gives you, I think it's 4 classes to begin with: Hunter, Tank, Healer, and Pet class. Well, I just died. Normally, YouTube, this is when I ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the notifications, comment when it's working. Well, I also have a little announcement for the folks of you that are not US watching this. This Sunday is a big day for us. It's the start of the American football season. The first full day of a bunch of games. So it's, I don't know, maybe it's like the start of cricket or the start of soccer, football, or whatever your main sport is. So I have that playing as one of my lights in the background. Now they're just doing interviews kind of early in the morning when I'm doing this. How do I like Summoner? It's great so far. There's a couple things that I haven't done yet. Like, you get these things called traits in Remnant. I have like 55 of them. And some of them I absolutely want to have. And then some other ones, I don't understand what it means. So I put some points into it and it's not what I want. So I have to respect that. I don't know how to do that at first. And again, like I told you, a lot of that stuff isn't really that important when you're starting off. Just playing the game is good. One of the interesting things is I've seen most of these maps at this point when I played in group, and now I'm doing them myself. I have some idea of the mechanics. I have some idea of how we got to things. I don't think I'd want to lead a group until I kind of knew what I was doing. But we'll talk about that more later. Recently I've been talking, I saw a video, I made a left turn YouTube, and that caused my phone to go where I couldn't reach it, and so I just played a YouTube video of someone, and it was, you know, one of those cringy ads kind of person trying to explain to you, you know, why you should follow them or listen to them and how they're going to make your life better. And I had 2 response videos to that, but really to the idea of, you know, that someone's out to get you, that life isn't a zero-sum game, blah, 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 all these things I just don't agree with. That's not how the world is. Life is a zero-sum game. Because if you look at it at one level, for you to live, something has to die, right? See, because you're eating something. So I understand those people are cherry picking an argument for one thing, but, you know, and I know they don't have time in their important message explain how their life is or whatever to get to, but I find those videos, to me, they're cringy and they evoke your response. Usually the response is to shut them off instantly. Normally I get 30 minutes in some of these videos. There's some even really smart YouTubers that do a lot of stuff, but they use a bad argument. I'm just going to say this about quantum mechanics, and not anyone in particular, but there's a thing called entanglement. And that's a big portion of quantum mechanics. Then there's this thing called the wave function, and that's kind of more the probability of the particle or the wave before it is observed. Then there's observation. But the thing in quantum mechanics is the observation crashes or collapses this wave function because you're looking at it. And when you're observing it, photons are bouncing off of it. You're taking a measurement either on a detector or you're observing it or whatever you are, but you're changing it. It's a pretty easy concept to understand, but people gloss over when they're talking about that. So they make a lot of argumentative mistakes. Not saying their ultimate point might not be in a good direction, but they just are very careless in their words. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about Remnant. Also in those videos, the last video I did, I talked about, that you might see today, I talked about why you should have games in your queue. Remnant is definitely one of those games. You can get into it really fast. You can get some action really fast. And you have there's the idea of having different builds. It has all the big things. You don't craft quite as much. It's more of a shooter and experience in progressing, not really a looter shooter. You can get some loot, but you get that by doing an area. There's some crafting or leveling of your stuff. If I had any advice to you in Remnant, what I'd say is don't upgrade anything and do as much of the content as you could at that lower level, because the mobs are lower level. As soon as you start upgrading your weapons, it upgrades the weapons. I'm sure there's a sweet spot somewhere. I can think of some ideas on how to test for it, but it's not really that important. I've upgraded, my one weapon is level 20. I think that's the highest you can upgrade it to. It was the default assault rifle for the pet class. So now I'm a summoner and a pet class. So I have 3 pets. My pet's kind of on heals, but maybe if I was doing it better, maybe I'd put my dog on attack mode and have more DPS. I think I've told you this before. I think in modern games, instead of being defensive or healing, you got to be more DPS based. But in any case, I think Remnant is a good game to have in your rotation. Now, I'm gonna compare it to Elden Ring, which is a slightly different game. It's easier to get the classes, but I found that, hey, I died right there, you too. What I found is in this game, look, I was having a Joe Biden moment. In Remnant 2, it's a better game, it's smoother, it's more polished. Elden Ring is a little bit tougher, but essentially they're the same games. They're not as forgiving. Remnant 2 will let you get through a lot of things, which other games won't. Like, it lets you see the content. And so I think that's a plus. I think the game really doesn't help itself. It makes the content so tough that you can't see all the content. And I think there's this balance game makers have of making it too easy and hard enough because you don't want anyone to run through the content. You got people who can run through the content no matter what. And I talked about in Diablo 4, it's a good game because you can get into it and there's a lot of stuff happening. It's got a lot of headroom if you want to go to level 100. It has a lot of headroom, but you effectively beat the game at level 50 or 60 or whatever. A little bit difference about Remnant. I've just spent like the past 2 or 3 days grinding to get this summoner build, and then I will get that up to level 10, and then I'll try to get these other builds. And some of them are a little bit harder, some are easier. This seemed pretty easy to me. Okay, so I'm going to try to take on the boss on this map. I've done this once with other people, but I haven't ever done it while I'm in solo. And I think one of the things, a recurring theme, what I always do on this podcast, is that you should try things solo. You should do life solo. you should be able to be a little bit successful by yourself before you get in a group. There's nothing wrong with getting help from somebody. There's nothing wrong if you have a spouse or a close confidant, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, that helps you through things. But if you can't be successful by yourself, you're going to have to be good. And no matter how good that seems at the first, people always resent being carried if they don't feel like they're adding value to the group. When we beat it the first time, I think I died halfway through this and people jumped over here. And I don't remember why this is a bad thing, but bad things are going to happen too. So maybe I'm going to call some people in here to help me get past this part. Or maybe will I be it? Who knows, YouTube? Who knows? But this is why I like Remnant. It's a good... Ooh. Jumping puzzles brings back Destiny 2. That was just a failure on the jump. One of the things, I'm wearing this really heavy armor. It has like 40% damage reduction, but it then removes my capability to do any evading that much. I should maybe pump up my evade distance and those kinds of things. That might work. But I don't know. So this is the thing. I don't know what it takes to reset. Oh, excuse me, YouTube. Jeez, oh, Pete. I should cut that out. Hey, cut that out. Editors. That's one of the things that I don't know. I think I'm going to do it right here. By zooming in, what I stopped, I think what the mechanic is I kill this spawn of the main thing, and each time I kill it, it lowers that main thing down. And I get enough stuff there. At this point, I have a flechette weapon that does a bleed over time, which is pretty decent, as my main gun ammo. So I'm back on this guy. And then drops you. So I hope you like this cadence also. I don't want to do every day where it's hard and heavy about, you know. Ooh. Like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Maybe I need help. Comment. So one of the things when I played with other people on their summoners, they summoned the last, you know, one bigger entity. So I'm starting to get an idea of what's going on. Maybe I'm going to be successful this time. But I hope you like this cadence where I talk about some other things and then I talk about the game. I don't want to show you a completely linear experience I'm having in the game as if I'm streaming but not streaming. Sometimes I'm going to do the idiosyncrasies or loot, resource gathering or those kind of things. So you don't have to be party for that. But if you want to see me gather resources, I can do that. I do like a resource run in Division 2 or Spodar or what have you. Again, one of the problems with my build is this armor. I don't have as much maneuverability as I want to. And I think at this point I realize I gotta flip the field each time when this happens. When I knock out his pawn, I keep going from end to end. You gotta raise these summons up. I don't know, YouTube, it's gonna be tight. If this was Division 2, I'd be saying something pithy, but this is not the Division 2, so I'm not as sure of the mechanics or how well my character is or dog gets me up. Alright, and that's some wasted ammo here. I should have been flipping the field already. Getting the loot. And this is the part I don't know. I don't know if I should be shooting that thing, but the summoner's still up. And YouTube, I want to thank you for helping grow the channel, helping, watching, subscribing. I appreciate everyone that takes time to watch the videos, try to keep them manageable, try to have some decent topics for you. Plus, it had some great comments. And this is a typical Ronin Kaze thing. When I'm panicking, I just keep mashing buttons until I die. This is Ronin Kaze. Have a great one. Bye.